All right, and we are back. We are here. I'll stop and wait while you play with your pole there. He didn't laugh at my joke, Worley. He didn't laugh at my joke.
I laugh, son.
Oh, man. This is going to be a fun episode. I can't wait. Darryl, we're just going to kick off. We are here at Bumpus Harley Davidson. Tell us who your friends are that have joined us on this episode.
Well, down there next to you is Mr. Shawn Camp. We've known each other forever. We're just talking before we started this today that he had gone down to the Shoals for a visit. He was looking at doing a record, and he wound up talking with Walter Aldridge and Alan Shulman, and those were people that I eventually wound up working with. I wrote songs for Rick Hall there at Fame for 5 years.
Wow.
And so, like I said, this guy's had hit after hit. He's an extremely talented artist in his own right, and I mean, and a good friend. He actually took me, showed me his place out there in west of Nashville. I don't know if you still have that or if that's...
I do, and it's for sale.
We're getting down to the
good place to
now.
advertise
Hell,
that.
he still got the first dollar he ever made, Darryl. Shit.
But just an incredible
Got mold on it.
I know it
musical
does.
guy.
I know you.
And I'm happy that he agreed to come out, helping us here at Bumpus tonight with the fundraiser, and agreed to do an episode of the podcast with us. So
thank you. Glad to be here, man.
Thank you, Shawn. We'll get on down into this, but right here beside me is my long-lost roommate, Brice Long. He lived. He and I shared like a townhouse, duplex apartment thing out in Hermitage for a while, and he moved in right after Win Varble moved out, which is kind of scary. But Brice and I have been friends forever.
Yep.
When I first started coming to Nashville, Brice was working over at Reba's place, and he was in the tape copy room, and that's how we got to know each other, through some original songs and stuff that I had written and done demos on, what have you. And matter of fact, some of those demos were recorded down there at Fame. I think one of the songs that you liked was
The Way Things
Are Going, and we recorded that demo at Fame.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, still one of my favorite songs.
Thank you, brother. So Brice is here to help me with the fundraiser here at Bumpus. We're doing this for my foundation, and we've been doing it here at Bumpus for years and years. It's one of our kind of mainstays. It's gotten to where it checks in about between $50,000 and $75,000 every year, just like that. It's amazing. The people come
That's
out
awesome.
that love this thing. So one of my best buddies, we've shared a lot of life together. I watched him kind of come into his own. He's a good soul, and I'm glad to have him here tonight. Thank you, Brice, for coming and doing this, and for doing the podcast.
Absolutely.
This will be a lot of fun.
Now, Brice, I'm going to have to get some help at some point. You'll see on one of our episodes, Worley and I go shopping downtown looking for a hat big enough to fit my head. And I feel like you might be able, with as durable as that hat is, you might be able to give me some tips
Brice.
after the podcast.
Yeah, we'll just measure it and order it. That'd be a hell of a
Brice.
lot easier.
It's big.
I bet it is. It looks big.
It's a big
It
old
looks like
head.
a 5-gallon drum to me.
I'm
It
telling you
might
right
take
now, it's
something,
big.
but we-
What size hat you wear?
And they brought
About
one
an
of
8?
Oh, no,
Usually,
it's
Oh,
way
it's
bigger
bigger
than
than
that.
eight.
it's about a 10 and a half or an 11.
No.
It's a big old noggin. I used to wear the concussion helmets when I played football because they couldn't get one big enough for my head.
Wow.
So,
I
fun
believe I
times.
wouldn't have played football then.
Yeah, well, I thought it would be helpful, just to headbutt people, but I'm still dealing with that now. But so yeah, we'll get together on that after. Guys, tell me. Obviously, I've seen the Worley Foundation, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But it's so fascinating to me. The more I've been, and I've actually seen Brice. I saw you in Savannah at one of these events.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating to me how you guys, as songwriters, come together, and just the way people come in and the way this event is so perfect for raising money for those charities. Talk to me a little about that. What got these ideas started? I think it's a pretty popular thing in the industry. Let's kind of go there for a few minutes.
Well, I mean, I think the songwriter and around thing's been around for a long time. I think it was, the first place I'm sure that it was that well known was at the Bluebird Cafe.
Right.
They did it years ago. And then, it's for something like this for D, it's, they just ask. And you show up. I mean, it's pretty much that simple. But we do a lot of these things now. I mean, over the last 4 or 5 years, I think the songwriter, thing has really gotten popular, and we get to play a lot of shows and do our share of the benefit fundraising part. But we also do a ton of shows that people, actually pay to come see and that kind of thing. And it's grown, man, in the last, shoot, man, I played right at 80 shows last year. It's crazy to think about, but it's just gotten that popular, and there's a lot of opportunity to do this kind of thing.
Well, you've got a lot of people like us. A lot of us would rather go to an event like that because it's more intimate.
Sure.
We want to get to know. We want to get to have the time where everybody's mingling and doing all of that and get to buy neat items, especially when it's a fundraiser like this. Talk to me about what you're writing right here next to me.
Well, this is a lyric of a song that I had a hit with George Strait on, River of Love. I'm just writing it out.
Oh, wow.
And wrote it with my buddy Billy Burnett and Dennis Morgan. Three of us wrote it. And I was sitting around. I had Cowboy Jack Clement's ukulele, and I had it on loan for a couple of years. But I was over at Billy's strumming along on this thing, and he had one. Billy had been in Fleetwood Mac. He replaced Lindsey Buckingham for about 10 or 12 years. Mm-hmm. And so Mick Fleetwood had given him a ukulele recently when I got there. And so he pulled it out, and we're strumming along. And Dennis Morgan walked in with a guitar lick. And, I'll tell this up there in a little while, but the guitar lick, it turned out to be George Strait's 57th #1 song. So we think that's the one that actually put him over the top.
Yeah,
so that's right. The one bought that Learjet.
You're gonna at least claim that anyway, right? Well, and that's one of the things that's so neat. And we'll show some clips of this. That's what I love about it is you get to hear those stories. You get to hear those. When you had a full-blown concert, sometimes you don't always get to hear the story behind the song or the intimate moments that make the song so special to you guys. Especially if that were some of y'all, Worley, every place we went today, you talked about have you forgotten or have we forgotten?
Yeah.
And it's a special song, and so it's cool stuff.
It's funny he mentioned 3 or 4 really significant people just in that short little story he just told, and I have seen people at these functions literally taking notes when we be telling the stories because they'll go home and Google those
who that
people
was,
and figure out who that is, and they're like, man, they'll come back to me and talk. Let me just say this real quick about what you brought up. I think, and I can't say that nobody else was doing this, but I think when I realized what these in the rounds would do for my foundation, we haven't done the river run since 20, I guess. It was COVID, whatever, maybe 19 or 20. And, it raised a lot of money, but it don't compare to these. Back before COVID, you could get the guy, Brice has done it for me numerous times, didn't even get paid. And I turn around and do that for other people too, just to help with their cause, Of course, you ain't gonna get nobody off the couch now without giving them something. And that makes sense to me because I always felt like before we probably should have been hitting them with some gas money anyway. But the whole thing I'm trying to say is that there's basically no overhead.
Yeah,
you guys come in and help you because they care about what you're doing, and man, people just flip out over it, especially if you get somewhere outside of Nashville where they don't get this. They don't ever get this.
Right.
Down home, they're just like, oh my God, we had no idea, and then they'll show up the next year and bring their money with them.
Yeah.
So it's good, and I appreciate these guys doing it.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yes, sir.
Man.
I'm gonna ask you again.
I hope so.
and nowadays it pays.
Man, I'm glad I'm hearing from you now.
That's a concept.
That's right.
It doesn't matter though, man. When it's something like that,
Absolutely.
we've swapped out and done a lot of stuff through the years of helping each other out, and at the end of the day, if it's if you don't ever give, you might as well not ever think about receiving.
That's right.
The way it looks to me. So anytime that you
can,
give back, we've all been blessed. Everybody sitting on this couch has been tremendously blessed and thankful to be able to make music and make a living doing it for a lot of years. And so we get opportunity to to make a difference and you know, I've known you a long time, D, but I'm proud of what you do, buddy.
Thank
That
you.
deal down there is really amazing, and what you
Thank
guys
you.
have done and the lives you've changed with all that cancer stuff down there in your hometown, everything. It's pretty amazing, man. And
What exactly do these benefit shows, I mean, what do they benefit specifically?
The money goes to the Darryl Worley Foundation, and the Darryl Worley Foundation has it ain't always been this way, but it has grown into it has a far reach.
it does.
We take care of people in our region. That was kind of the initial goal, and when I say that's West Tennessee, North Mississippi, North Alabama. But in the last 10 years, we've helped people all over the nation.
Wow.
And that's one of the things they asked me the other day. I had to go down and do some promo stuff for the foundation, and it was on. They had the cameras running, and they asked me what do you envision for the future of the foundation? And I said, well, several things, but I said one of those things is that I think that we need to get outside of just right here at home. I said it was important to keep most of it at home in the beginning because we were just working with nickels and dimes, and I said we're sitting on an endowment fund now, and we have done. God has just poured blessings on my foundation.
Wow.
And I said we're going to start helping people in other places too, so that big corporate entities can see what we're doing, and then I'm going to go to them and say we want $1 million. We don't want 50,000. We want $1 million, and those people. They do that every year. These
Right.
big, huge corporate. I mean, they got to do something with it.
Right.
They might as well
Right.
be giving it to me and let us help people.
Yeah.
Because, man, we seek out people that are at the bottom. They got no place else to turn. And, I mean, when you help people like that, I just believe that's God's work. I think that's what he called us all to do. And it don't just change their lives. It changes our lives.
Absolutely.
So
That's great, man.
Absolutely.
we built a Darryl Worley Cancer Treatment Center there in my hometown.
Sure did.
Which
It's
they said
amazing.
we could never get even a building permit to do it because
Yeah.
we don't have many people there. And I said, look, they're going to come from 3 different states and all around. Oh, you won't never. Since we opened the doors, it's never had an empty seat. Not one.
Wow.
People sit out in the hallway and take chemo. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
So it's been, and it was a big undertaking. It was probably close to $4 million, and they said we'd never pay for it. We paid it off for 2 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, yeah, man. That's what this is. I mean,
Well,
and,
congratulations.
and a whole lot
That's
more.
beautiful.
We have Veterans Fund, take care of homeless, lots of stuff. So
Wow.
it's
How
good.
cool. You're going to run this country one of these days, Darryl Worley.
Pretty sure you're right.
I'd vote for you, D.
I would too.
I was gonna say we'd vote for you.
You ain't kidding.
There's 3.
You will never get that opportunity because I might not even be in this country.
Yeah.
It's according to who wins in November. I'm gonna get all that land and stuff of mine sold one of these days, and I'm gonna go somewhere and relax for a while. I'm due.
That's good.
Well, that's fun. Well, guys, we're looking forward to the concert. We're going to obviously get a lot of content from there and let you share some stories. We're going to capture all of that while you're playing. So that's going to be tied into it. And so
We'll cut snippets of that in throughout this
absolutely.
podcast.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be
from
fun.
the live show tonight.
And so we'll obviously share the link and all the information for the Darryl Worley Foundation, and I'll get anything that you guys share, any foundations y'all work with, any of that kind of stuff. We'd love to promote that with the show.
That's
and
awesome. Thank you.
because that's what this is about. Darryl named this Sounds Like Life with Darryl Worley, and he likes having his buddies. He likes, talking about things and giving back and all those areas. So we're just excited to have y'all here and kind of go from there.
Brice has helped us a bunch, but when Julianne called me, I don't think she knew who you were. She just, but somebody had suggested to her, and I knew you did things like this quite often, and she said that to me, and I went, my goodness. I said, he should have been helping us all these years.
I would have loved to.
I know you
Anytime.
would,
Yeah.
but this is wonderful. I mean, we've got you now, so.
Well, I'm tickled to be here,
Yes,
man.
thank you.
And just glad you thought of me eventually.
Brother, I've been just hitting the high spots. I don't think of many people. They think of them for me.
That's
of
good.
course, Brice and Wynn, they were shoe-ins because I had to live with them.
Yeah.
We
I
probably
remember-
owed you to come down here and do that.
I met you at the CRS or something.
Was it? It was.
In a doorway somewhere.
Yes, sir. 1993.
But
True
Wow.
story. True story. I
Wow.
opened the door for Shawn because I was volunteering down there at that deal, and Campster was playing. He had his record deal and stuff, and his band. They were coming in there to play in a sound check, and I threw the door open there, and somebody was knocking on it, and it was Shawn, and that's where it was 1993. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
And we've been buddies ever since.
absolutely.
One of my favorites. I promise you
Oh, my
that.
goodness. Let
Hands
me tell you
down,
something.
one of my favorites.
He knows I'm a fan. So, and I have a question. I was telling these guys when we were eating today that, and I don't want you to, I know it's not like your biggest hit by no means or whatever like that, and I don't want you to waste a song on it unless it's something that you would be passionate about doing. But my favorite song is That Ain't the Grandpa That I Know.
Oh,
Thank
isn't
you,
it
man.
great?
He
Do
told us
you
that
ever
at
do
lunch.
it at Thanksgiving?
Once in a while, I did it. I actually did it in Roswell, New Mexico, for a guy night before last.
You did?
Yeah. So I wrote that with Tim Menzie. You know.
Oh, I
so-
know.
It's so good.
Tim's got a song on the Christian
good.
charts right now that's killing it, and me and him wrote it.
No kidding.
It's the first song I've ever had on the Christian charts,
That's
and
great.
I've really wanted to do something like
What's that called?
Well, it was my idea. I came in and I said, Tim, I don't know. Of course, you know how OCD he is. He's worse than I am. But I said, it's called We Made a Mess Down Here. And he said,
Oh wow.
do what? I said, Lord, I guess you know we made a mess down here. And he goes, oh,
That's
my.
so
wow.
great.
He goes, oh, my goodness. Wait till you, of course, you know how Tim is.
I love
it's like,
Tim.
He goes, now, we can't say, Lord, I guess you know every time because he knows. And I'm like, I know, Tim, but I said, it's kind of just the common language thing. And he goes, yeah, but you need to listen to his version because, buddy, he gets it. It's you know how he is.
He's the best.
It's precise.
He
He
is
is the
amazing.
most. He's my. I would say he's one of the greatest songwriters that Nashville ever and singers. I mean,
Oh, my
he's
goodness.
as
And
close-
players.
and his soul is
Oh,
the sweetest
brother.
cat on earth. I would work on a song 3 or 4 days with him, and we laughed till our bellies hurt every day from daylight
Absolutely.
until dark. You
I
know,
love that guy. I'm
I
going to
do
tell you
too.
something. Every time I go to a writer's room or to his house or wherever we sit down and write together, and I go back home, I cannot say a word. And my wife will go, have you been with Tim Menzie? Because she said, when you go sit and spend time with Tim Menzie, you come home a better man.
Yeah,
That's the truth.
That's wild, man. But I believe.
I'm telling you the truth.
I haven't seen Tim in a long time. I probably need a good dipping.
Who don't? Who don't?
There you go.
Every time. Hey, yeah.
A ringing
Now,
out.
now listen, Darryl. Get you a big deep breath this time, because I'm thinking you needing it. I just hope whenever I get a chance to go back and see him that he'll spend time with me again. That's all. That's how I feel.
I haven't seen him. I don't know how long. Probably 5 or 6 years. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Well, when I
love
found
him,
out about the fact, he didn't even call me or nothing. I had no idea that he released this. Because he did call me when they finished the record, and he sent me a copy of it, and I said, Kimberly, you have got to hear, because you know how he sings. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to the record. I'm at the hometown radio station in my hometown doing some promo stuff for them. And Jane Haggard goes, well, I heard your song she plays this thing on Sundays, Sunday Down South.
Yeah.
I heard your song on the countdown, and I went, huh? And she goes, yeah, the Tim Menzie thing. I said, what? And it was at number 14.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So I don't know if I got to
That's
check and see
awesome.
where it
That's the
went.
way to find out right
Yeah.
there.
Didn't he get a Grammy a couple years ago for a gospel record?
nominated
He got
for it.
nominated.
Yeah. You know that I've been
He's so good.
nominated for every country music award, almost, not every, but almost every one
Yeah.
that they give away. You know what that means?
What does that mean,
When I
Darryl
tell
Worley?
somebody that I got nominated for all them awards,
You didn't win.
I didn't win a single one. That's what that means. If it didn't mean that,
Yeah,
you would
you
have said,
say,
"Did you
"Oh,
know
I won song of the year." I know, man. Yeah, I was there once, but I know. Yeah,
That's it.
that's the truth. Too.
I'd have just said you heard about me winning
Yeah.
that CMA award, right?
Yeah,
Right.
But yeah,
Campster can probably
I'm a
say
big
that.
nominee.
He can probably say he won a song. Of
What's
the year or
that?
something.
Never won Song of the Year ever. I do have a couple of Grammys though.
Oh, I knew it. Yeah.
But one's a bluegrass Grammy.
Right.
Tell us about it.
Well, I'm in this band called the Earls of Leicester.
I knew that.
Bunch of high-level pickers, and I'm imitating old Lester Flatt. I talk like old Les. I say stuff like, "Oh, thank you so much, friends and neighbors. It's a real pleasure to be here and performing for you today. I hope y'all appreciate the program. We're going to get right into it now. Here's one called whatever I'm going to say. I don't know. You know, that's kind of
So good.
that's old Lester Flatt. You know, so we play all music from 1954 to '69 from Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs and the Foggy Mountain Boys, and I don't know what
so
year we
good.
won the Grammy, Bluegrass Grammy. I mean, and I love bluegrass, boys and girls. I'll tell you, I do, and I love being in the middle of this. But a bluegrass Grammy is a lot like a polka Grammy, as far as the public knows.
Well,
Sometimes, you know.
I tell you what, I
That's a
don't
big
care
deal,
what you
man.
win a Grammy, and that's
That's a
fun.
big
that's
deal.
holding up.
I
high
hope we can get
company.
another
You ain't
one of these
kidding. That's
days,
a
but we're
big
going to have to
deal.
cut another record if we ever do. But, you know.
Shoot, boy.
And I got one as a co-producer on Guy Clark's last album called My Favorite Picture of You. And,
You got a Grammy for that?
Yeah, and that was the only
Golly,
Grammy
dude.
Guy Clark ever won. Was that on that record? So
Man, that's huge.
yeah, me and Chris Latham got the co-producer credit on it, and
Chris Latham won
was
a Grammy
engineer.
with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
love him.
Y'all
Yeah.
cut that down.
I haven't
in the
talked to
EMI,
him.
right?
EMI.
Yeah, that's
We
what I
were,
was
that
thinking.
was the last record that was
crazy.
recorded
This is what
in the
happens.
EMI
Right.
studios
That's
in
what
the
I was thinking.
basement.
That's where I first met Chris Latham.
Yeah.
When I went over there to write, they said, "Well, now, why don't you just do these in the basement with Chris?" And I don't know who Chris is. They said, "Well, come on, we'll go
Great
introduce
guy.
you to him."
Yeah,
oh, I
man.
love
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
him. You know
of
what
him.
he said to me? I was singing my second song. This is all how I got my record deal. My first 7 songs I turned in, EMI wanted me to demo 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then they said, we'll do guitar vocals on the other 2. I did 5 songs. The second one we was going to sing, it's a big old country ballad called I Remember. While you're trying to forget, I remember. So I started singing this thing, and Chris Latham, I get chills right now. He pushed the talkback button. He goes, "Worley, you can sing." And I was just singing them so I wouldn't have to pay the demo singer, you know.
Right.
I done made up my mind. I was done with this artist. I want to make some money.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Anybody ever tell you got some Gene Watson?" I like to pass out. I mean, because
Yeah.
Gene Watson's like,
No
to
doubt.
me,
Yeah.
he said that to me. I was like, we became very close friends right then. But I mean, I knew about his history with Tricia and all that stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, he is a beautiful
That's
guy.
so good that happened to you too. I love that.
Well, that
I do
sounds
some voices myself, you know. I do quite a few actually, but
Really?
Billy Bob Thornton said my best one. I'll give you a little taste of it. Now, sometimes it takes me a few minutes to get in character on this one right here, but I've been up there at the nervous hospital. I do that one.
Pretty good.
I sent one to
That's
Billy.
my hometown, you know. That's where
I know that.
Sling Blade was filmed in Benton, Arkansas, which
Yes.
is where my mother's folks lived. And I moved there in 9th grade, and we lived there, you know, in that vicinity until I graduated and moved to Nashville.
Is there a nervous hospital up there in that Benton? My grandma used to work at the nervous hospital, actually. Yeah. I've been up there. She sure did. You're not done that to my little brother. He might have had fun sometime. I've heard it said that way. Sometimes some people calls it a sling blade.
Mark Colley sent Billy Bob a message from me, and I did it in Carl's voice, and he said, he called me. I've talked to him occasionally,
Yeah.
and he said, "Tell that tall son of a bitch he does Carl better than me."
well, guys. I hate to cut these voices off, but you guys are going to have to go on stage here in just a
You'll
few
not
minutes.
cut
and
nothing.
so-
You'll not cut nothing off of me.
So again, we just thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure to meet you. And
meet you,
again, this sounds like life with Darryl Worley, and thanks to you guys for being here.
Glad to
Shawn,
be
thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you doing this.
All right, and we're back to Sounds Like Life podcast with Darryl Worley. He's got a big yawn going over there. You still got to play tonight,
Dude,
man.
I've been working all day.
You have been. It's been a long day,
I
and
get it.
it's all good. It's all good. You want to
good
introduce
stuff.
your friends to
Yes,
us?
sir. So this is the Bump Eye, we call them.
Bump Eye.
The Bump Eye brothers. So they had Bumpus Harley Davidson here in Murfreesboro, Bumpus Harley Davidson in Jackson, Bumpus Harley Davidson over in Memphis. And in the early running, we were doing these fundraisers at each one.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, that's Tom over there. I've known him for how many years?
A bunch of them.
How long we been doing that?
2008, we decided was
that was our first Hitmakers.
the first Hitmakers
event.
and I think we met a bit before that.
That's right.
Country Beach
We met
Party
at
downtown.
Country Beach Party.
one
Exactly.
time we got a
No,
chance
I knew
to
that.
meet.
in 03,
I was waiting to tell that
02. No, it was 02 or 01. Yeah, I think so. 02, I think.
because our beach party downtown in Nashville was to raise money for cystic fibrosis, and he has a child who has that. So that's how I got to know Scott, and they would come every year religiously, and it was quite the event. But that's how we got to know each other, and so early on with Tennessee River Run and all these guys were our presenting sponsor, got involved in a big way. Then we came up with the idea to do the rounds, riders rounds at their businesses, and like we are here tonight at Bumpus Harley Davidson in Murfreesboro. We're just all family. I mean, it's been so much fun. It's been like a labor of love. Of course, it ain't easy. There's a lot of work that goes into the things that we've done together, but
We found if you can do the things that you enjoy doing and make something good come of it and have some fun with it, we've been in business for 38 years coming back this summer, and that's been kind of our thing. If we wasn't working in a Harley store, we'd probably be hanging out in a Harley store, and the same thing comes with music
Absolutely.
and all that stuff too. So whenever you can combine those passions in life, it's a great thing.
Yeah, we've
But
sat
I mean-
around. We've sat around fireplaces and picked guitars, ridden motorcycles together, gone
Yes.
catfishing,
That's
chasing ducks around, just all kinds of different stuff over the years.
No, we went duck hunting. We didn't see a whole lot of ducks.
We
got
got up
wet
and it was
and we
really
got
early and
cold.
really cold.
That's right.
that's right.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I tell you, speaking of having fun with it, one thing I love, and you can tell when you walk into an environment, you're always, anytime we walk in, and this was my first time to meet you guys, I'm always, okay, we're going to have to set up, got all these things going through my mind, we got to watch schedules, we got to do all this. And your staff was just unbelievable. Everybody was happy. Everybody was working. Everybody was doing their thing. You've got family members here. You've got volunteers. And I was just like, okay, this is home. This is why Darryl does this.
Yes.
It's neat for the outsider to see that for the first time. And it's,
Well,
I
that
commend you guys
attitude
for
that you're talking about, that spirit, if you will, or the vibe, it comes from the top down.
Yeah.
These guys are heart people. They're like us. I mean, and we, if you have any discernment at all when you come into contact with people, you just know. And I knew from the get-go, not just them, but their wives and families. It's all, it's just amazing. And
I'm glad to hear that you felt that from the team here. People have come up and thanked Tom and I for doing this, and I'm here to tell you, nobody works less on this than Tom or I.
I went home and let the dog out and fed the ponies while at
They
4
just get
o'clock
to
it was
sit on the
still a
couch.
motorcycle shop, and by 5 o'clock it's a concert hall
It
out
was
there waiting to get
unbelievable.
going, and the food vendors.
Tom and I are both married to women named Angie. And not the same
right.
one, but
Well,
there's
that's
two
good. I was
different
going
Angies.
there next.
And
I was
on
gonna
this,
say
on
that.
this,
I had
event,
mine first, and Scott
That's
thought
true.
it looked
That's
pretty
true.
good.
It
so
was
he's gonna
a
try
good
it.
There you
idea, so
go.
I went that direction too. on this event here in Murfreesboro, the drive of making everything fall into place and selling the tables and coordinating the caterer, that's all on Angie Tom. She has put this into it, but it's actually pulling the event off at night. It's the team here at Bumpus Harley in Murfreesboro. They love doing it, and they.
Yeah.
Man, you
It
thought
was-
they did this for a
Even
living.
got some of our employees came up out of the Lynchburg store. You missed one of them down there, down in Lynchburg, Tennessee, where all the good whiskey's made. We've got a little store down there, and some of our staff came
oh,
up
that's
to
true.
make
I
sure
didn't even
they're
think
here
about
Yeah.
that.
to do,
We're gonna
help bust tables or work the bar or whatever else we have to do. So
That's neat. We're going to be
I
down
mean-
there later this week.
And,
Right,
and the amazing thing about it is, not that we wouldn't help people in Middle Tennessee, because we obviously would. We have. And they've known all along that it was kind of focused on the region. But we just talked a little bit with the other guys about how we're getting ready to branch out a little bit too. It's grown to the point where, we've got a longer reach and we're helping people outside those boundaries if there ever really was any boundaries. But I would love to go back and we would have the records. We could look at it and see. I'd love to go back and see how much money in dollars Bumpus Harley Davidson has helped Darryl Worley raise for his foundation. That'd be a good because I
wouldn't even
promise
know
you,
where to begin. It's been.
I could find.
It would be a
that.
sizable number
between these things,
and it's our customer base that and our friends around town and at all our locations that have all pitched in and helped him do this and participated in the auctions and
we did
tickets.
Yeah.
We were going and doing and participating in beach party and everything. That really wasn't Darryl Worley Foundation event, although that's one of your benefactors. The first time that we got involved with it, it was at one of the old river runs down there at the park at Pickwick. And I don't remember what year, but I can remember who played, though. And it was the year, I remember John Conley played that year. We'd have a lineup that looked like it looked like 5 Saturdays at the Grand Ole Opry.
That's right.
It was great. Charlie Daniels played there one year when we went down.
Yeah, we had
for
almost 20,000 people there that year.
Oh, it was great.
That was the biggest crowd we ever drew.
For a park where you couldn't bring a beer into it.
Well,
I saw some beers in there, but
because we finally said, look, what they agreed to do is it said just people keep it in coolers and cups, and we won't bother them until they start doing something crazy. So they only hauled about 15 off that year.
I think
15 out of 20,000 ain't
That's
bad.
not bad.
I teased that we upped our
odds.
sponsorship just so Randy would keep me a cooler backstage too. So.
You should have just come to the bus if you ever.
Well, that's what I figured out.
If you ever ran low.
That's what I figured out. Now, I've made some of my best friends in my life through our association.
That's amazing.
And from doing it there, from doing it out on the water, I've got a lifetime of memories if I forgot half of them.
Man alive. Those, I tell people that when I'm pretty sure that our concert on the water was the most unique event in the United States because we tried to search for it. I don't think anybody else did one where there was nothing connected to the bank. And like they didn't run power from the bank, nothing. The power came from the generators on the boats. And that event, the amount of money that we would just take up in buckets.
Yeah.
And then we'd have other people that would write checks, and it would raise $100,000 a year.
It'd ride around on a jet ski out there from boat to boat, picking up cash. And there was a barge that was out there that served as a dance floor.
I was going to say we figured out that I'm telling you this, it was a logistical nightmare.
Oh, I bet.
And for so many years we went without ever having an injury or anything. We thought, we were just. And the first year that anybody ever said, we've never had an injury. That's the year that Shrek's. I'm sorry, Tony Demo's wife got her finger cut off.
On air. There you go.
You gotta.
Well, one year we had a hell of a thunderstorm blow up right in the middle of it.
You think?
Too.
Did you ever see
It was during your set.
Did you ever see the screenshots that I took of the radar of that? So
looked like somebody spilled a bucket of
paint. A bunch of people started praying, and the storm split just before it really got bad. I was thinking it was going to turn a boat over or something, and it wrapped around us. There was a horrible thunderstorm. I've got a picture of it somewhere. All the way around, you could see us right in the center. And this thunderstorm was in a circle of us. Yeah.
Wow.
As my daddy says, clean living pays off.
I've never seen nothing like it. I don't know if it had anything to do with clean living. I think it was the people who were helping.
Yeah. You said they were the ones doing the praying, so that counts.
Gosh, buddy. I'd never seen nothing like that.
Yeah.
But, we talked to these people here. We talked about Middle Tennessee and what the foundation does. And, I'm sure it's been said 1,000 times on this podcast, I don't live in Hardin County, but I'm not very, very far away. And I drove through Hardin County the other day, and you can still just see, the pride that they have, not only in you, but I still drive past that hospital. And pride's one of those sins you shouldn't have, but I've got some every time I drive past it. We had a little bit to to do with
You had
that,
a lot
with
to do
that,
with it.
that place. But,
Absolutely, you did.
you know,
We couldn't have bit that chunk off without people like yourself that gave us a little bit of insurance. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of knowing we got some folks that are standing by and helping us, and because it was a big undertaking, man. It scared me half to death, that whole cancer treatment thing, and I thought we'd never get it done. I mean, well, I knew we'd get it done. I just thought it was going to take forever.
Well,
and we finally got through. So
it's us. Our customers really rally around it too, and a lot of that has to do with how well you treated them and made them feel like they were a part of it too.
Well, they
rides
were.
that we do. But what we'd figured out is these Hitmakers and Harleys events. The money we could make on it.
Oh yeah.
Would be what made Tennessee River Run completely paid for before you sold the first ticket.
Absolutely.
And before you plugged in the first amplifier.
Well, before we moved, I'm just going to put this out there, and you know it. I mean, before we moved the show out on the water and stopped hiring national acts like Charlie Daniels, and I don't say Charlie to put off on anybody.
Even if they do it at cost, there's an expense that's there. That
I'm going to tell you, most of them, their cost was killing us.
Yeah.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I had so many people come to me and said, most of them are coming to see you, which I don't know if I agree with that, but they said, do one and just hire some regional bands to be with you, see what happens. Well, we had almost the same amount of people.
Yeah.
Then when we put it out on the water,
Yeah.
It's
all atmosphere.
I've never seen anything. You need to see some of those, like, aerial drone shots of the boats.
Boats everywhere out there.
As far as you can see, it's boats.
You know, it's funny. We were talking when we were throwing out ideas, and one of the ideas we thought about was having a podcast episode to tell some of those old stories. But my fear, from what I've heard, is that you're just going to get hounded about when are you bringing it back? When are you bringing it back?
It's already started.
That's coming from me mostly. Is
oh, gotcha.
when you're going to bring it back.
Because
Scott's a player. Scott plays and sings, and we had them there. They'd come play every year.
That's how far the talent fell. From Charlie Daniels down to us.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But you know, when you do it in the park, the stage. If you could see the stage that they had there, I mean, it was a monster.
Oh, it
a
was.
huge thing. And then when we started doing it in town, the most fun I had was in town because it was such an intimate feeling there.
It was.
That stretched back up the street. It was a much smaller stage, and that made save a lot of money. But out on the water, I mean, it was like a field party that was out there. You just drug up some PAs and did it. So you didn't have all that big production.
Now don't throw shade on being able to tailgate at Savannah Motel now.
And that was fun too, being able to hang out at the Savannah Motel.
I went up maybe the last time we did it in Savannah, I went up in the top of the courthouse.
I remember.
And hung my feet out one of those windows and watched part of the show. And there was a lot of people in those streets, more than I'd ever seen.
We'd do the pre-party the night before, and you'd have we've had Marshall Tucker there one year, and 38 Special one year. You do kind of like Southern rock thing.
Yep.
Man, I thought we was going to need to put some walkers out there on stage for some of those.
Me and you both, brother. I said, that's Marshall Tucker. He sung like 2 songs, and that was it.
No, we had Black Oak, Arkansas played out there one year, and my brother Dan was there. Dan's not with us anymore, but Dan was one of my favorite people, one of your favorite people too. And he had the sharpest wit I've ever seen.
Oh, I miss him.
And he said, man, Jim Danny looks a lot like grandmother wearing spandex.
He was right on the money. This will come back to haunt me.
Hey, but it's a great show.
Badfinger was there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, some of those songs. I mean, you don't even think about
you had
who.
a chance to edit some of this out.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
Hey, but they tore it up though. They tore it up.
Absolutely.
But you talk about you had regional bands that were there too, but you still had you had a lot of killer acts that even in the time you were having some of the smaller bands out there.
Yes.
Ronnie Millsap. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Ronnie Millsap came out and played.
Had him once at Pickwick at the big stage, and then he came to Savannah.
I remember him in
he was
Savannah.
really starting to slow down at that point, and I remember
But boy,
helping
you
him
couldn't
back
tell
to
it when he was on stage.
No, he did a
though.
great job.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me from the first time to the last time. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Golly, Bill, it's just one hit song after another. I mean, he has to do medleys to even get them all in.
You know, at this thing, we've had some great music at these.
I was
deals
thinking
right
the
here.
same thing. The amount of talent that you've brought to these Hitmakers and Harleys is just it. Like I said, I'm always in awe of talent and just the variety of people.
We've had
the
almost
level
all
of
of
songs. Just
I mean, we've had a
Blows us
lot
up.
of them, you know, and we'll continue. Just like having Shawn tonight. I told Shawn, I said, I feel almost ashamed to say this, but I said, it just hasn't crossed my mind. He's incredible.
what a guitarist.
We
Oh.
met Shawn a couple of years ago
Man.
through our friend Keith Sykes.
Yeah.
And Keith does a songwriter show down in Texas. It's coming up here in a couple of weeks. That he has a whole series. Got Rodney Crowell's going to be there this year, and Keith or Shawn goes and plays that every year. And anybody out there, and I want to say to the people who are going to be here tonight, that man, what a treat they're in for. Here comes one of the Angies in here. This is
She's
Tom's
changed
Angie.
clothes.
Pull up in here. We were
There's
talking about who did all the work
There's
for
the
this show.
responsible
lady.
party.
Boss
This
is
is
the
the
responsible one that does all the work.
There's
for
the
these shows.
responsible party. That's the voice of reason.
You know how much
Yeah.
work it takes to make Tom and I look good, and they do it. They do it, especially this one here.
Was it Moose says that'd be me.
That'd be her. Yeah,
That's a mooseism.
a mooseism.
That's
A
funny.
mooseism.
Yeah.
But we've had
Throwing
some
them
great
out
ones.
there.
That, you know, like I said, the stories that you can't tell. Some of the backstage stories that have happened at these things.
Yeah,
at
like
these
jumping on that desk.
Well, the OPF.
OPF.
That's
Other
OPF
people's
stands
furniture.
for other people's furniture. And Kimberly, bless her heart, I wish she was here tonight because I miss her.
I've never
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that table flex that much, and that was on the little one. So then we got a big, strong desk in there, and it stands about 2 foot taller than the first one he jumped
And this
on.
dude
But he
flat-footed
jumps
it.
on it too.
Golly.
I've tried putting stuff on top of
Yeah.
it, so there's
That
no
used to be a
room, but
big
he just
thing
moves it
for
out of the
me.
way and tries to
Not
jump
so
on it.
much anymore.
We've all outgrown that kind
OPF.
of behavior.
Maybe.
He said maybe.
Have you still got your motorcycle?
I still have it. It looks terrible. It's covered in dust in the shop. I mean, it wouldn't
Yeah,
take
we'll-
much to clean it up, but
We'll come get it. And
the
we'll pick it
motor
up, get it
hasn't been
cleaned up and
turned
get it-
over in probably 5 or 6 years.
Well, we need that's what those things are made for, is to ride.
I
so
just hope and pray that it turns over.
we'll
I
figure
think
it out.
will.
We'll figure it out. Let me know if you need us to do something. You ain't around home enough much.
I know.
I'd
It's
rather ride it.
There's just only 2 or 3 little things. I may just bring it to you guys. That's a good idea.
It's like everything else
We'll
in
come
life.
get
You're
it or-
supposed, if you have it, you're supposed to use it.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, I don't know. My wife, she's had some pretty bad accidents in the last couple of years, and she said she'd never get back in another side by side, which I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of over that.
Well,
I
you don't
bought a
want to run out of
side-by-side,
town.
but
on
I
them
use it
things.
to haul garbage down to the co-op, and I go pick up the mail. I love living out in the country. We drive it down to the little restaurant in Mercer to eat supper in, and
You probably got it street legal.
I bought it. Well, everything's street legal in Mercer, Tennessee. I drive the lawnmower through there sometimes.
George Jones.
We
did
look
it.
at we look at a big, huge metropolis of a place like Savannah with
Exactly.
envy out in Mercer. So
I hear you.
Well, I hate to wrap this thing up, but I know these guys have got a whole list of things to get accomplished in the next 30 minutes before we start making a little music.
Angie
and,
probably does. I need to fix.
And I
another
know
drink,
if I
but
let
that's
you guys
the
keep
idea.
going,
We
we
will.
could sit here at this couch
will.
all night. and
Hey,
tell
before we shut
stories.
down, Angie, we talked a whole lot about you guys before you came over, and thank you for coming and sitting down with us so we can put a face to the name. But we joke around and kid around, but I want you to know, I'm looking under here, that what we've accomplished together over the years is really, I don't have the words.
It's big.
And I know what kind of work goes into it because we do more than just one event, and sometimes I get stuck with some of these tasks, and it is busy. I mean,
There's
it's a
no
hard
doubt we
job,
give all
man.
the credit for getting this thing organized and pulling it together and making sure that the tables are full and that the
So thank
promotions are
you.
out there. And
I mean it.
I know.
yeah,
I know you do.
it takes a lot, and I just stay out of her way the best I can and not mess it up.
And we appreciate the association with you and your team and the foundation. and the friendship and the camaraderie, and we're blessed to have to be able to partner up with you to do this.
Thank you.
Because we have a hell of a good time doing it as well. And I've said before, if you can combine God's work and fun,
thank you.
Then man,
we were there if we can get that.
Thank you so much, because that's what it's all about right there. And I'm telling you,
and you're doing it.
We get my wife and I. We go out and grab something to eat. I never go to town that somebody doesn't come up to me. And, and I always make sure that they understand. This is not just me. I had a great idea, I think, and that doesn't happen every day, but I had a good idea, and I had a ton of people that helped me pull this off. And they'll say, my mama, she just passed, but 5 years ago she was taking chemo and didn't have to go out of town. I'm telling you guys, it's unbelievable. And that's just the cancer treatment center.
Yeah.
The foundation has a lot of limbs.
Well, it's the foundation, and it's you too, Darryl. And in fact, I sent you a text about a month ago or so. A customer of mine, in fact, he's one of the guys that teaches people how to ride at the Jackson store, said something one day about. He said, "I see Darryl Worley anymore." I said, "I see him fairly often, every now and then," and he remembers being on your security detail in Iraq.
Wow.
That he still talks about, though, you going and doing.
Wow.
Those kind of things.
Oh, man,
so,
a bunch.
Anybody that's got something ugly to say about Darryl, either they don't say it around me or they're not around. So I don't ever hear anything except for people who having you around has been a blessing to them. So,
You're doing great work. You're a great talent, great friend. Proud to do this, and I guess it's time to go have a little fun.
That's a great note to wrap
go make
on,
some
just
new
right
friends
there, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for letting us be with you.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all did it, because people will love this.
Yeah, don't eat that up.
Everybody's an adult here, so you know how to behave.
Not everybody knows how to behave, but I'll try.
Tom will be in the wash bay.
Yeah, if they relegate me to back there, I'll have to do that. No, it is going to be a great time. You'll notice we only have 3 stools tonight because of the number of hits that come from the people here, and one guy's got enough of a guitar to fill up 2 stools by himself. So,
more hits than a prize fight.
Yeah, you're going to like it. We'll let Darryl introduce them. They'll be joining us in a few minutes, but we wanted to make sure you had a chance. You got you something to eat. You've got a chance to fill up your buckets for your table. If you need anything at all, raise your hand.
Look at here.
Do, but
Hey! Sneaks up on us. Golly, a shadow cast over the stage.
We got that beard on point tonight too, man. Look at that. It's smooth, slick.
So I tell you what, no further ado, you didn't come here to hear Tom and I goof off. So I want to introduce my great friend, Mr. Darryl Worley.
I love doing this, and I love what the Bumpus family has helped us accomplish and helped us in helping so many other people. And when I say that, I'm talking about a lot of folks that didn't have any place else to turn, and didn't have an insurance or any kind of plan like that to cover the problems that they might have been dealing with, or the tragedy that they had come upon. And so know that we talk about this a lot, that when you can do something that you love and you're having a real good time doing it, and then it allows you to help other people that really, really, really need help. We all, I kind of throw myself right into the Bumpus family. We all kind of believe that that's doing God's work. And so thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I'll introduce my old roommate to you first, because he's been on this stage before. He helped me do this a few years back, and I'm excited to have him back again tonight. He's had a bunch of hit songs. We had an old townhouse, what else do they call it? Duplex kind of a place over in Hermitage that it wasn't just mine and Brice's, it was a home for the wayward songwriters in town. And we didn't even really have a house key. We just had these, we'd keep motel keys from places we'd go and stay, and you could just stick it right in there by the doorknob and it would just open right up. So lots of times when I'd come in off the road, there'd be somebody sleeping on my couch I've never seen before. But if they're, laying there not causing any trouble, or if they're sound asleep, I didn't worry about it. I just went upstairs and went to bed. I knew it was somebody trying to make it in the music business. And
Me and this old boy here figured out a way to pull it off. One of my best friends, thankful for his success. He is a good soul, solid to the core, really, really good guy. Mr. Brice Long, y'all give it up for him if you would. You might hear a story or two tonight. That's scary. But we've been back there laughing about a bunch of old crazy stuff for the last 30 minutes. And so that brings me to this other guy. He's never done one of these fundraisers with me to help me raise money for the foundation. And the truth is, I don't really know why he would have been at any of them that I asked him to do. And when Julianne brought his name up, I said, oh my God, he'd be incredible, because we've done other stuff together and we've written together. And man, this guy is a insane musician. He's an incredible songwriter. He's had, like they said, he's had more cuts than a bush hog. And I'm thankful to have him here tonight, and he's a good soul too. He's happy to help us with this cause. And Mr. Shawn Camp, y'all give it a and but Scott and I were talking tonight. I think I'm gonna bring my old bike out of retirement and take it to them, let them.
I don't think you're doing the Bumpus family any favors, talking about all these accidents. I think we need to get off this subject, because they won't sell some of them bikes.
Somebody, you know, it's funny you say that, because somebody threw something at me when I went to that. All right, well, yeah, it's the greatest recreational sport on two wheels in the world. Good observation, Shawn. Let's do something.
Sorry, I didn't mean to give you the hook, man.
So who's gonna play one? I can. I don't care. I was gonna do something kind of out of the ordinary.
I think you ought to do something.
Let's do this. And this ain't even. Well, this is. I used to tell my daddy all the time. He's a big Johnny Cash fan. And I told him, I said, I love Johnny Cash too, but I don't like. I said, he wrote the best blues song ever, but when he plays it, it don't sound like the blues to me. And I mean, I don't mean nothing by that. I was just a kid. He said, well, come up with your own version then. And I said, all right. So I did. That's what I'm gonna play for you. But my dad said, I like Johnny Cash's version, man. Y'all gotta get it. I hear that train a-comin', rolling around the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine, I don't know when, Lord, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps rolling on, and old train keeps on rolling on down the San Antonio. Told me, son, I always be a good boy, don't you ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, I hang my head and cry. Oh, it's Shawnee Camp. And smoking big cigars, I knew I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But them people keep on moving, and that's what I told you to me. that railroad train was mine, I guess I'd have to move a little farther down the line. Here come from Folsom Prison, that's where I long to stay. And then I let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away. Yeah, then I let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away. Just to get a story. Never heard it done that way. Well, you know, my daddy told me, we played it the other night in Clifton when we did that deal for the unveiling of the statue for this war hero down home. And my dad goes, he's 85, he sat on the stage. And when it was all over with and he was leaving, he called me over to his car and he goes, I do like your version. I said, well, you've come a long way.
Sounds Like Life with Darryl Worley is a Bluespire Media production hosted by Darryl Worley and Travis McLeese, produced and edited by Mike Murphy and Sam Hudson, lighting by Micah Powell, set design by Sam Hudson, theme song Sounds Like Life to Me by Darryl Worley, executive producers Jeff Lemanowski and Julianne Grinnan.
Sounds like life to me. It ain't no fantasy. It's just a common case of everyday